This is a 6-year follow-up of my 265, 75, 16 BFG all-terrain KO2s coming up. So 6 years ago, I installed these BFG all-terrain KO2s on my 2017 Tacoma. These are 265, 75, 16s, and that gives us a diameter of approximately 32 inches. Now for a long time, that was my highest viewed video, so I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that were interested and may still be interested in this size tire. I do have a lift on my truck. It is 2 in the front, 1 in the back. I didn't want to go the full 3 in the front to level it out. I still like having that slight rake. But before I did the lift, the tires came first, and I do not recall them rubbing whatsoever before the lift. Now, this is not an aggressive size by any means. They're only 32 inches in diameter. The stock tires were 31 inches in diameter. So I'm not going a whole lot bigger, but with that slight lift, it does fill out the wheel wells a lot better. It looks great in my opinion. BFG all-terrains have been my favorite tires for a very long time. I worked at Discount Tire back in 2000 to 2002 when I was in high school, and I would see people put 3 types of tires on their work trucks, and that consisted of the BFG all-terrains, the Pathfinders, and the Michelins. Now the Michelins are a street tire, although they did fantastic. If you wanted to be able to do a little bit of more work site, job site driving, they tend to stick with the BFG all-terrains and the Pathfinders. Now the Pathfinders were purchased by the people that didn't want to spend the money on the BFG all-terrains. However, they often would spend more money because they'd have to replace them more often than the BFG all-terrains. I saw those guys getting easily 60,000 miles out of their BFG all-terrains. Many were getting upwards of 80,000 miles out of their BFG all-terrains. But on top of that, when it came to balancing those tires, the BFG all-terrains balanced so much better, so much easier, took so much less weight to balance them than the Pathfinders. It would not be uncommon to have to break that tire down, spin it 180 degrees, and then try to rebalance it. Same thing with giant mud tires. BFG all-terrains don't require that nearly as often. And so I know those experiences are more than 20 years old, but they stuck with me. So that's why I stick with BFG all-terrains on my truck. I love BFG all-terrains. They are fantastic, they last a long time, and they do adequately good enough. I would say that they do good enough in the type of driving and off-roading that I do. I don't do extreme rock crawling or anything like that. It's just moderate off-roading to go camping off-grid and towing my 5th wheel camper with it. Yes, I tow a 5th wheel camper with my 2017 Tacoma. I know, it's just a little guy. It's 4,500 pounds empty, 6,700 pounds GVW. I have a custom gooseneck hitch in here. You might be able to see part of it through the wheel well right here. And if you're curious, I do have other videos on that. So as it sits right here at the beginning of 2025, I have had these BFG all-terrains for 6 years. I now have approximately 42,000 miles on these tires, and I'm going to see if we can get a tread depth reading off from them. Okay, so we have a reading of 8. I'm not entirely sure what that measurement is actually meaning. I don't know if that means 8 millimeters or what. I apologize. I don't know the measurements that this particular depth gauge is in. There might be some better people out there that can answer that question, but it does say 8 on here. So here's a closer up look of the tire, and I took the measurement right from the top and the middle. If I take it from the side, it's probably just a little bit deeper. Yeah, it's closer to 9. Now there's a few things that I do want to point out. Hopefully you can see it, but there is some cracking on the edges here, some dry rot. That is common to see on tires in Phoenix and in Arizona in general because it's much drier out here. We do have a little bit of chunking from off-roading and from rocks. You can see, I don't know, chunking is the right word, but a few chunks that have come out from the edges just from off-roading and stuff like that, from rocks and debris. But hopefully this gives you a better angle right here to see how deep the treads are. There's still plenty of tread depth left. We're nowhere close to any of the wear bars, not even close. Now I do want to talk about a couple of the downsides to the KO2s. I already did mention one of them is the dry rotting, but that is not exclusive to the BFG KO2s. It's very common in many of the tires in Arizona, so it's not exclusive to the BFG KO2s. The next one is because of the shape of the tread, they tend to pick up rocks and then they fling them out and hit the bottom side of the truck, or don't, and then you hear a ticking, tick, 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 tick. Can be annoying sometimes. And then the last thing I do want to mention is because they are so tall, there's so much sidewall, that these are E-rated tires, which means they're 10-ply tires, which also means they're heavy. So they're considerably heavier than the tires that came off from here. I believe that they're 10 pounds heavier than the factory tires that came on the truck. 10 pounds per tire, which caused my mileage to go from 22.5 miles per gallon on average to 19.5 miles per gallon. I cannot imagine you guys out there that are putting the giant tires on here. Like, what are you getting, 14 miles per gallon? If I wanted fuel economy that bad, I would have bought a Tundra, because that's ridiculous. Like, you guys out there that are getting 14 miles per gallon, like, that's crazy to me. That's not why I own Tacoma. Like, I want a smaller, lighter truck, better mileage and stuff like that. If I wanted terrible gas mileage, I would have gotten a full-size pickup. But I am not criticizing you guys out there. That is your business. That is your preference. Like, that's just my opinion, my preference. So that's just me. Now, I briefly looked. I did not see the KO3s in this particular size. So I'm not sure if the KO3s are available in this size yet. They may or may not be in the future. And as you can see, I stayed with the stock 16-inch wheels. I don't hate them. And when they do need to be replaced, which is probably, the tires are going to expire most likely before I wear them out. And tires expire every 10 years. So they should be replaced at the 10-year mark, and I'll probably hit that before I actually wear them out. But I have thought about it. I don't know, I'm just playing with the idea. It all depends on funds and how motivated I am. But I have considered going with the 17-inch wheels, like a TRD Pro wheel, and that way I can get a lighter tire. I think that the what is it, the C-rated or D-rated? I'm not sure. The lower class rating of the BFG, I think, would be just fine, even though I do tow the fifth wheel. Like, the max PSI on these tires are 80 PSI. Like, these tires are no joke. Normal PSI on the lower rated tires are like 65 PSI for their max. So I run these at 50, and that might be a little bit higher than what you guys run. It does mean a little bit stiffer of a ride, but it also helps with your fuel economy quite a bit. Like, the tires that came on the truck were 50 PSI max. I took it up to that max to 50 PSI, and my mileage increased. But again, it does mean a stiffer ride when you have higher air pressure. But I like the BFG all-terrain. I like the size. It looks really good. I would buy them again in a heartbeat, wouldn't think twice. And if you're considering it, that's my suggestion. There'll be a link in the description if you feel like getting the tires from Amazon, or at least seeing the kind of price that they are at. The link will be in the description below. It doesn't cost you anything to use them, but does help out the channel just a little bit when you do use those links. So there'll be other links in there as well, like for the lift that I used on the truck and other accessories that I've used on the truck. That'll all be in the description if you want to check those out. So I hope that this video helps you make a decision out there. I'm sure by now you probably watched some of my other videos on the tires, and hopefully they've gotten better over the years. In the 1 year mark video, I do have more footage of them actually going through mud and doing off-road stuff. I just don't have time to go out and get a whole bunch of cool footage, so I apologize. I am very lacking on the B-roll. I'm only one person, as the channel states. I can do it myself, but I can't always because it's a lot of work. So anyway, that's it for this video. We'll catch you on the next project. See ya.